Hey everybody, it's Damien. Welcome to our second Worldwide Toast. Just getting things loaded up onto our Facebook page right now. Thank you so much for your patience. The guys are up in Northern California and they are rocking it. So just to give you a little bit of a heads up on how this all works. If you have any questions, you can click the question button and type your question in, and I will send it over to the team, and they will see it, and they will answer it ASAP. We have a thing for raising hands. We're going to have some questions towards the end to win some awesome prizes that the guys will tell you about. Just go ahead and click raise your hand only when they tell you to do the questions, and that's the time that I'll be able to see who raises it and when and who's the fastest gun in the West, and I'll bring you up on stage to throw your video up online to start talking, and that is roughly about it. If you have any questions, just go ahead and type them out. I'll look at them throughout the event, and I'll be responding to you and throwing them up there for the guys to look at it. Somebody just tested the raise hand. Well done. Shame on you though, because I said this isn't the time. So get ready for it. So give us a few minutes to get things up and running. Thank you so much for your patience. I know we're about 4 minutes late, but give me a few more minutes to make sure our Facebook is loaded and we'll be good to go. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you guys online.
What's the best way to convey and make sure that everyone's aware of what's going on?
I have stuff into my priority box
Oh,
now,
good.
so
There you go.
that's how I found out about
Joe
this.
Bacon's
That feels
priority
pretty good,
box.
actually.
Yes, that's an endorsement.
No, she didn't say what priority it was. Was
Right,
it the
yeah.
high priority, or the
Priority for
low
deleting.
priority?
Y'all are in there with crypto.
Hey everybody,
Oh, we're live.
we are live. Jeff and Paul, welcome.
Oh,
Sorry
awesome.
guys, to use remotely, so it's going to be a little wonky from the distance. But I'll be here to answer all your questions. And with that, I'm going to give you guys Jeff and Paul.
Hey,
All right. Thank you, Damien. And thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. And for all the folks that are here in Emeryville with us. Should we do a quick pan and show the crew? I'll probably screw this up, but we got a pretty good turnout here considering all the traffic. Everybody. And let's see, where was that? About there? Right about there. All right. Can you see both of us? Yeah, that kind of works.
He's not kidding about the traffic. Just it's a highway standoff, like a high-speed pursuit that ended up with a standoff, and the freeway was literally closed all day. So it was just actually recently that they opened it up.
All right, we have a lot to cover. This is going to be our deepest dive into the business, and we're super excited about it. We've actually been busy the last couple of days preparing. We have 600 slides to go through, so it should be pretty quick. But before we do that, there are a couple of things. Damien, if you could pop to maybe the next two slides just for a moment. Can you guys see the slides there? Yeah. Yeah, right there. The toast. This is what we're serving here in Emeryville. Legion M toast with eggs on it. There are a few SEC things that, just because we're going to be talking about the business, it's legally we're obligated to provide some legends, an SEC legend. So if you can go to those two slides, Damien, maybe just show those for a minute. Yep. The first legend from the SEC that talks about our future looking statements and other things like that. You can read that later if you want. We're not going to bore you to tears with it. And then I think there's also another one about the presentation.
Slides of legends.
2 slides of legends.
So basically, just to summarize what these slides are saying, and again, if you're interested, you can read them. But the first one is that we're making forward-looking statements, right? We're going to talk about what we think is going to happen and what we hope is going to happen and what we're planning to do. But the fact is, this is a startup company. Things change. We pivot. We can choose to change things at any time. And it's just want to set everybody's expectations about what that is. This is, we also do SEC filings where we have financial information that has been audited and reviewed and is extremely detailed. And that's all factual, right? That's all going backwards. And so, the SEC is really aggro about they want to make sure that people understand like what is a fact, like something that we've done in an SEC filing versus what is conjecture on our part.
Yep. And we're a bit of an anomaly because we're essentially an SEC regulated public company, but we're also a startup, right? And so that's what's new about the Jobs Act, but it's also what's exciting about it. And so, our promise to you is that, we want to be transparent. We want to make sure everyone understands completely and fully, what we're doing, how we're spending the money, what the investments are. But we also need to follow the SEC rules and make sure that we're putting all the disclaimers out there. So if you go to the next slide, Damien, we can move on from the SEC legends.
Real quick,
I think we have our first trivia
guys.
opportunity.
Hey guys, real quick.
and-
If anyone is having a problem seeing any of the slides or if anything freezes, go ahead and refresh your browser. If you're using Chrome, it's one of the best things to use. A few people said that they're having a hard time seeing. Just to let you know, if anything freezes throughout
they're not
throughout the
switching for us, Damien, either.
it should be up. Just hit refresh.
It is up now. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. There's going to
All
be
right,
a little
so
bit of a
the-
delay.
All right. So we've got our first. We promised that we'd be giving out some Legion M swag to anyone that was watching live or here in person. So, does anyone know the gender of the kaiju from Colossal?
Live audience is not allowed to participate in
Yeah,
this.
we'll have some. Yeah.
We're going to do a giveaway just for you guys
Yeah.
in a bit, but unless nobody else knows.
Oh,
Does anybody in here know?
Someone's
I'm
coming
just
on.
curious.
Someone's coming on here. Okay. Well,
I think the trivia question is, do we know what the gender
no.
is?
There's two answers to this question. So really, any is the correct answer. So thank you, Angela. You won.
You won by virtue of knowing
but-
how the hand button works.
But there's a funny story to it, which is that most people think that the kaiju is a female
Mhm.
because it represents Anne Hathaway's character and she's linked to it. But actually, according to Nacho,
Mhm.
the director, because he was asked that question,
The writer and director.
the writer and
the
director.
de facto source, he's the highest authority.
he says that the kaiju is male, and but then Neon's perspective on it was female. So any answer is the right answer. I think it's ambiguous.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Support behind both.
Yeah, there's
Yes.
support to justify both. So let's
So,
make sure we
Angela, yeah, we'll hook you up with Eric Lamb, and he'll get you one of our snazzy Legion M shirts.
All right, let's go to the next slide and let's do a toast. So this toast, this time around, this is the third time we've done it. The second time we've done it to toast fundraising. So this is to memorialize and to celebrate the most recent fundraising that we had, which we're super excited about. We haven't ended the round, or we haven't closed the round, but we've ended the current fundraising at the $7.47 price, and with over $2 million in funding, which is remarkable. It's double what we did in the last round. And so I want to raise my toast to the immeasurable power of fans and thank everyone for their participation. And I'm really excited about what's ahead. So cheers.
Cheers to that. And I'll just give a quick toast to, it's kind of cool. You guys are all here. This TV, this company, Paul and I started with one other guy about 17 years ago, which is a little frightening. But it started
14.
off, it started out, just the same way as this. We started working out of a spare room. We didn't have any money, so we went out and we found some investors. And then we built something, and we found some more investors and built some more, and
Sold it, got
found
revenue.
some more investors and built some more. And over time, it turned into something pretty spectacular. I mean, we had at one point, 300 or 400 employees here.
Yep,
We won an
around
Emmy
the world.
Award. Anyway, and so this is kind of exciting because with this new round, we now have over 7,000 investors, which I think is really, really cool. It makes us the #1 Jobs Act company. All this Jobs Act stuff is brand new. No one's ever done it before. So we're charting this uncharted terrain, and it's so fun and it's so exciting to have so many people coming along for the ride with us. And we're not satisfied with 7,000, right? Our goal is 1 million, and so if that's the case, this elevator still has a lot more. See who's here. Here's to getting in early.
Yep.
You all have exceptional instincts and taste.
Yeah.
And to our
Here's
first
to you.
7,000 investors.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yep. Let's do this.
All right.
All right. Next slide, Damien. I think this is just the agenda slide, so we can kind of go through this quickly. You know, we're going to give the toast. We're going to go through like our past success. We want to just kind of bask in it a little bit, but also just to recount it, because I think it's important. And as a startup, I think, you know, one of the things that really energizes Jeff and I is what you're able to accomplish with, you know, with a relatively small group of people. And in our case, what we have is a relatively small group of people that are working at the company with a huge group and an amazing community of people that are helping and supporting us. And we're excited about that and what we've been able to achieve.
Yeah.
We also want to talk about the performance, like how we're doing, and like not just all the good things, but, you know, like how have things gone? And then talk about going forward, the strategy. We've got a slate review. We've got some objectives for this year.
Some updates on the projects.
We're going to give you a deep dive into our Legion M secret plan, our secret global domination plan.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, so not allowed to tell anyone. Everything that we say.
Of course, it is
here
posted on our website, so you can tell some people.
And then we're gonna have some time for Q&A. So let's dive into it. So we'll go through the successes. Oh wait, there's one more thing that we need to do, and it's a really important one.
It's our Conspicuous Valor Awards. I'm curious, just of the sample here, how many people know what the Conspicuous Valor Awards are? You are sitting in the midst of one of our Conspicuous Valor Award winners, which is Karen C. Who's here.
Karen C.
But each time we do one of these big toasts, we pick a couple people that we feel have made really strong and important contributions to the Legion. And it's a really difficult process because we've got a lot of people that are very active in the Legion, and a lot of people, I mean, one of our biggest problems we talk about all the time is that we've got too many people that want to offer their support and they want to offer their help, and we don't have enough hands, you know, sometimes to be able to accept it. And that's one of the things that we're working on, and we'll talk about that later in the deck. But our previous award winners, just to recap, was Aaron Wheeler,
Terry Pignon,
Karen Clifford, who's sitting here with us, and Pete Yagman.
Yep.
So Pete Yagman is the guy that
Pete got a tattoo. That
Legion
pretty
M
much gets
tattoo
you.
on his
Anyone
arm.
that gets a tattoo gets a Conspicuous Valor Award instantaneously. Send us a picture and a note from your doctor, and we're good.
So,
All right. So with that, shall we?
Drum
You want to
roll,
do the
please.
first one?
Sure. So
All right.
we actually have a really unique
Oh,
one this
Damien,
time.
you should go to the. You're a couple slides behind. We're on the Valor Awards. Yep, and then we're on the first Valor Award. Goes to
Drum roll, please.
Twitchy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matan G. Goldstein.
Yep.
So Matan has been fantastic. We met Matan and Michelle at Stanley's Los Angeles Comic-Con when we did back in October.
Right?
Yeah, they came to one of our panels, and it was like love at first sight for us. So they jumped in immediately. They got involved with the forums. They got involved with pretty much everything that you can get involved in with Legion M. When it came time to do our Stan Lee event, Matan actually was the one that brokered and helped us set up the deal so that we could live stream on Twitch. We live streamed that party on Twitch, and we were the #1 thing on Twitch that night. We were
like 200,000 people watching that party.
we literally had the #1 slot
on a Tuesday night,
which is huge for all of our sponsors and partners and all that sort of stuff.
It was a big deal.
Matan also runs all of our viewing parties, and I think we've had
there they
3
are.
of these so far.
There's
Hey!
All right, Matan. Congratulations, my friend.
And so anyway, Matan, thank you very much for your contributions to the Legion, and welcome to the elite circle of the Valor Award winners. There is a prize that goes with this. It's a special t-shirt. And it's been over a year, and we actually haven't produced the T-shirt
We need to
yet.
design
But when it
one.
happens, it is going to be kick-ass.
And
I'll
you
tell you
cannot-
that right now.
You cannot buy this shirt. You can only earn it.
Yes.
Yes. So,
Also, because it doesn't exist yet.
right. Yeah. You cannot buy it. Yeah, exactly. All right. Shall we keep going? We're going to run out of
Yes.
time at this rate. All right. And
Our next
Number
Valor
2.
Award winner.
no big surprise here, but the second half of the Power Valor Award couple is Michelle Party Bus Carter. So also jumping right in with Matan, and has been an amazing support for the Legion and organizing the party bus,
The party bus to
down
San Diego.
San Diego,
A
and
troll hunter.
Troll
and a
hunting
Forum
and
admin and
a
everything.
force on the forum and
That's right.
everything else. So our first Valor Award power couple.
That's right.
Actually, yeah,
That's right.
pretty cool. So congratulations
And thank you.
thank you to Michelle and Matan. All right,
All right.
there's one more. You want to do it? Go.
Oh, sure. Ladies and gentlemen,
Woo!
Mary Jewel Burr. So Mary Jewel, I'm not sure when we first met Mary Jewel. Was she a first round investor, Karen? Or
Yeah, she
Okay,
was.
she was
I
a
met her.
first-round investor.
I met her at a local meetup here, actually.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
in Monterey.
okay.
The first time I met her was down south for the Colossal premiere. She actually won randomly. We drew names, and her name came up. But she's been wonderful, and again, a huge force in the forums.
Yep.
A huge. What was that?
Yeah, Facebook,
I-
troll hunting,
yeah,
everything.
Yeah, and she
help
also
with the
has
Stanley
been
event.
blogging a lot with us. If
Yep.
you go into the
Yeah, she's got
into
some
our
blogs
news
in
section, you can see she's written 5 or 6 different blog posts about her
Yep.
different experiences with Legion Admin. So,
Yep.
Mary Jewel, we're thinking of you, and thank
Yep.
you very much.
Mary Jewel was trying to be here today, but because of the traffic, I think it was going to be different, and some stuff that she was dealing with in her personal life. But thank you, Mary Jewel. We'll call you out, give you a personal congratulations, and thank you for all your support. All right. So
next
now
slide.
I think we're going to go, and we should go through this quickly because I think we have some. Oh no, we have one more thing. Andrew Cosby. So a lot of you may know or may not know, and it's something that we need to do we need to put up on our website. It's in our SEC materials. A big part of how Legion M has managed to gain so much credibility so quickly in the industry isn't because of Jeff and I, because we're just chumps, but our advisory board. And we have a super elite advisory board. And these are people that we've invited to join our advisory board. They get a small number of shares as their compensation. But really, there are people that we've identified in the industry that think what we're doing is super cool and they want to be helpful. And so we've got people like Tim League and Christian Parks and Lisa Tayback and Will and Seth Green and the Stupid Buddy Studios guys. But the most recent advisory board, and we have another one, but we're not going to announce it today, is Andrew Cosby. And we did a shindig with Andrew a couple months back. And for those of you who don't know who Andrew is, he's the current writer for the Hellboy reboot. So he's over in Europe right now
I think in Romania.
He's the screenwriter.
They're filming.
Yep, they're filming in Romania. He's also got multiple other projects, including some cool horror projects that he's working on. And
He's also the creator of Eureka. Any Eureka fans here? Or
Yep.
anybody? Yeah.
Yep,
And,
that's him.
Haunted. Yeah. So he's been a great ally so far already, and again a great resource. He did an hour-long shindig where he talked about the ins and outs of Hollywood and how to break in as a screenwriter. And so we're really glad to welcome Andrew to the team.
And having someone like Andrew on board means that, if we're assessing scripts or we're looking at a script and we're finalizing something, we can pass it by him and just get his professional opinion. Like, oh, okay, I think this is good, or maybe not because there's something else like this. And so our advisory board, we don't ask a lot of them, but we do, we're in contact with them pretty frequently about, depending on what we're working on, to just get their advice and also get their get access to their network and to make connections.
Good deal.
All right, next. Oh, another trivia opportunity. All right, so the first to raise their hand for what is the first convention that Legion M appeared at?
Is that Nikki Ackerman? I see Nikki.
Yep. Nikki's gonna know.
Hey, Nikki. Oh, you're muted, Nikki. Your microphone is muted.
The Silicon Valley Comic Con.
Excellent.
Bam.
Well
You
done.
got it.
Well done.
All right. Maybe we made these too easy.
I think they're way
All
too
right.
easy.
Thanks, Nikki. We'll
Good
follow
job,
up with
Nikki.
you.
Eric will follow up with your shirt.
All right. Let's keep going. Damien, next slide. All right. So top of the first inning successes this last year. Let's go through this quickly, Damien, if you don't mind. So the first thing, and probably one of the most exciting things, is just bringing together the community of people that we have. You may see your picture up here, but it's really been phenomenal. And it's one of the things, frankly, that when we talk to people in the industry, that they're the most intrigued by. That this has come together and that it's been so supportive. So thank you. Next one. We also introduced and were involved in one of the most original new movies of this year, if not the last decade. And currently on the top 10 films of 2017 from USA Today. So we're really excited about our involvement in Colossal, and having that be one of our first projects is kind of a cool, step function into the industry. Next. We started production on Field Guide to Evil, and in the next couple weeks, we're planning to have a detailed update on how that's going. But this is a dark horror anthology that's a global anthology that'll come out next year. Keep going, Damien. We shot the pilot episode of our Icons Face to Face, and a little later in our Slate overview, we're going to talk to you a little bit and maybe show you. We've created a sizzle video to help us sell that concept, and we have another kind of add-on component that we're excited about to tell you about. Next. We opened the gates to Hollywood with our pitch elevator, and this is also something that we plan to talk a little bit more about in the discussion today, because we need to finish that up, and then we've got a second season that's starting. And so the second season of Pitch Elevator, we think, will be actually a nice revenue generator for the company. And next, we immortalized a legend at the Chinese Theater, and this was really a cool project, I think, on multiple levels, because it really put us into the absolute elite on the stratosphere in Hollywood. By doing this, we had some of the top studio heads of the studio. Kevin Feige came, Stan Lee was there. But it was also a fantastic way for us to market the Legion and get awareness for the Legion, and do it in a way that is doing something good for the industry and for this hero of ours. But also it was a revenue driver, and so it was good for business. It was a good project on multiple levels, and so we're really proud of it. And it's the type of thing that we want to do more of. Next one, Damien. We got a lot of news coverage, continue to get a lot of news coverage. I think we're over-indexing on the news front, which has been great. Keep going, Damien. We've had 2 successful rounds, and we've assembled now over 20,000 people into our community, which is amazing. As Jeff mentioned earlier, we are the number 1 Jobs Act company as far as total funds raised, but as far as
the number
total
of people
investors
that are involved with it.
Yeah, we're number 1. So we want to keep that status. Keep going. This is one that I think is really exciting, because when you start something and we're able to kind of get the community interested and get that going. You never know what the industry's reaction is going to be to it. And I have to say, this is one of the things that I have to fight harder to get or explain more to get their kind of buy-in. And, this isn't even a complete list of all the relationships we have. And this is a list of people that want to work with us. Now that they've met with us, I mean, literally, we had another meeting yesterday, and we mentioned this at Toronto Film Festival, and it's I'm telling you, it's genuine. And we meet with people, we tell them what we're doing, and their jaw drops and says, oh my God, this is so smart. Let's work together. And so, and these are the people we're meeting with. So it's not like, we're meeting with our neighbors and this is a reaction. This is some of the top companies in and around the entertainment industry. So we're excited. I think we'll get to a point as we get bigger and bigger where we'll be needing to make hard choices about what projects we want to be involved in, not trying to convince people to let us into their projects.
Yeah. And that's really one of the kind of superpowers of the Legion, is the fact that because of the fact that we're a fan-owned company, it really opens a lot of doors. I mean, we say this all the time. If Paul and I had walked into Hollywood with, what have we raised now? A couple $1 million.
Yeah.
There's no way that Tim League and Neon
again.
would have let us get in on Colossal, right? They didn't need our money. There's no way we would have got Stan Lee and Kevin Smith to sit down for that VR series interview with us. I mean, it's because of the fact that we represent a broad array of people, and also like the tip of the sword, the enthusiastic, like the fans that they want, the tastemaker sort of fans. That really all these companies are willing even to take our meetings.
Yeah. Well, I'll also say that I think we're at an interesting point in time for the industry. And I think people are starting to acknowledge that disruption is happening. And in some cases it's good. In some cases, for some players, it may not be good. But everyone needs to sort of be smart about what they're doing going forward. And I think we're hitting it at the exact right time. I mean, we'll talk about this later, but things have aligned very nicely for us to do what we're doing. And, the industry is receptive, which is kind of, when we started Moby TV, I will say this, the industry fought us. I mean, hard to believe, but 14 years ago or 15 years ago, and Jeff Barty, who's here, will attest to this, that, we told people we wanted to put phones or TV on your phone, and we were going out trying to get the rights for it. And most of Hollywood was like, no way are we doing that. We don't believe that consumers want it, blah, blah, blah. And, 3 years later,
nobody's ever going to,
it can be done. We got it done. And 3 years later, we were awarded a Primetime Emmy Award for doing it.
I know.
And the industry came around pretty quickly. But
now I can't get my kids off of watching TV on the cell phone. And so that's actually part of why we started this company. If
that's happening in your household, you have us to blame.
We needed to make amends.
Exactly. Yeah. We're going to try to make up for it with this company. All right. Next slide. So one of the things that, we get asked a lot is, hey, how did Colossal do, or how did we do, or why are we spending all this money on the Stan Lee thing? And when are we going to see our first revenue on Field Guide to Evil? And I want to be clear with everyone that this is preliminary, right? Like some of this revenue data is coming in as we speak. And a lot of it happened in this summer. And it's not fully audited financials, and there are a lot of caveats around it, including, some of it we haven't collected yet. We've invoiced for it, but we haven't received it. One of the partners is actually delinquent, but this is what we've invoiced. And so one of the things that why we want to share it with you is we can't tell you individually how each project did, because if we started giving that kind of data out, no one would let us into their project, right? Because they'd be like, oh, wait, but now you're going to tell the whole world how it all did. So what we can do is we can tell you an aggregate, right? So we're going to tell you, we've invested so far about $340,000 into 5 different projects. And this is, going back from most of that money was coming from the first round of finance that we raised. So that's Field Guide to Evil, it's Colossal, it's Pitch Elevator,
Icons, and the Stan Lee event. Those are the 5 projects that we've got on our slate. And like Paul said, this is the money that we've spent, is probably a better word to say than invested, because some of these, we didn't invest in the Stan Lee event, right? We spent money out of our pocket. We took a risk, right? We were the producers of that event. And in case everybody's not, familiar with it, the Stan Lee event started off as it was a marketing idea, and
so it was Pitch Elevator.
Yeah, so it was Pitch Elevator. But the Stan Lee event, I think, is particularly interesting because we realized that there was an opportunity to immortalize, a 94-year-old
turning 95.
icon and have like a massive what?
It's one of the.
I win.
All right,
I
you
win.
won. Jeff won that one. Actually, you didn't know it, so I think I won that technically.
Anyway, so there was this amazing opportunity, and what it started about, like, wow, this would be a great way to draw attention to Legion M. We had the head of Marvel Studios came as our guest to the ceremony and spoke, and there were a lot of stars there, and there were a lot of people in the industry, and we reached out to literally the 6 most powerful people in Hollywood, which are all the studio heads.
Yep.
But what we were able to do was we were actually able to turn that into a revenue generating opportunity.
Yep.
So that the cost of the ceremony itself, which is a pretty significant cost, we could cover that. So this isn't like a project where we made a ton of profit, and that wasn't the goal. The goal of it was to pay for the ceremony, to pay all our costs so that we could get all of this amazing PR for free. We had a full profile in Variety magazine. We had a full page ad, the back cover of Variety magazine. And so it was
and
really,
we were doing something authentic.
and we were doing something really
worthwhile.
cool.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And we were creating, it hit like every one of our kind of pillars, which we want to do, because we also want to enable experiences like, next time you're going to be there. But these experiences are part of our promise. So, we want to, and like Jeff said, like, if we can generate revenue, we're going to generate revenue. And we want to, because this is a business. At the end of the day, it can also be a big things in the world and brings amazing content to the market. Then I think we've got something truly special. And one of the things that we wanted to share here is, like, so far as a business, it looks like it works. And this doesn't include like our overhead or the salaries of the employees. But if you look just purely at the investments that we made into the 5 projects, already to date, and only 2 of those projects have been monetized. The other 3 are still in production or haven't yet hit the market. We've already generated over $400,000 in revenue from those projects. And so, that doesn't mean that, like, we're profitable and, we still have a long way to go, toward building a viable ongoing business. But, we wanted to make sure that people understand that we do care about this. This is why we're here. This is what we're doing. Exactly. Of the business.
And like Paul said, this is the reason why we look at the data like this, where we're isolating the project data. So this is the money we spent on project and the revenue that we receive from the projects. And it explicitly does not include salaries, overhead, PR, kind of the additional expenses of running the company. And a big part of the reason why we look at this is because this is kind of the engine that propels the company. Yep. And right now, while we're in a startup, the overhead is a huge component of it, right? Every company starts off and you literally have no profit, no revenue. All you have is expenses. And so, for us, we're making relatively small bets. We've spent $340K on this sort of stuff. Yep. But 5 years from now, we hope to be spending 3.4 million, or maybe 34 million.
Well, and one thing about this data, and again, we want to give some guidance so that we can answer those questions. But there's also components of this. A lot of what we're investing in is putting sweat equity into things that we haven't even put up there yet, because everything that we've invested into, and we'll talk about some of those projects, isn't really like, we're not cutting a check to a production team or hiring people yet, but we're putting our time and energy into creating those. And so the slate is actually even what you see here, but the 5 things that we put actual money, like where we've cut checks and made investments and basically made a bet. We made a bet that these 5 projects are going to be worthwhile for us from a revenue standpoint, and also from a marketing and other benefits that we'll get out of it. But anyway, we don't want to belabor it, but it's something that we wanted to share. Damien? So, what?
I think we win the grammar award on this one.
Oh, yeah.
Areas to emphasis.
This was your slide. this was a slide we felt like we wanted to put something in here, which is like areas that we want to emphasize as we go forward, like areas for improvement,
Like grammar.
Like grammar. Grammar is one of the things that we plan to do. But I think that I can't even read that. I can't read that either.
Okay. I'll read it then.
All right.
So one of them is the organization and the management of volunteers. And we're going to talk a little bit about this later. But like I said, we feel like one of the huge opportunities for us is we've got this amazing legion of people that have amazing talents and amazing connections, and a lot of them are willing to help. And so we want to find more ways to efficiently and cleanly do that.
Yep. The other thing that I can do the second one.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I read it. I put my glasses on. The second thing that we want to do is we want to be more aggressive on the sales front. So we've got some amazing, and when we go through the slate, you'll see some of the pitches that we have are really phenomenal, including the stuff that we've already talked about, Icons and Pitch Elevator. We want to get more aggressive about, generating revenue from those projects. So you'll see that from us.
Community communications and responsiveness. Like this will probably always be a challenge for us, but it's something that we're constantly focusing on. You got to realize, this is a relatively small team. It's the two of us, and then we've got 3 other full-time employees down south, which is Damien, Terry, and David. And that's it. And then we've, Eric, obviously, and, kind of a broader network than that. But there's always a struggle because there's so many ways for people to reach us, whether it's Facebook or direct emails. And we really insist on answering everyone. Like we don't have like interns that do our social media for us or respond to emails. So when you reach out to us, like it's literally us responding. And we feel like that's really important. Like we want to, maintain that. But it doesn't necessarily scale, as you go from 7,000 investors to 70,000 investors. And so it's a constant focus for us is to make sure that we're getting people the answers that they need and we're being responsive and communicating the information you guys want to know.
Yep. The other thing we want to do is double down on authentic ways to market the Legion. Instead of, we've done a lot of Facebook ads and things like that, but we really like ideas like Pitch Elevator and Stanley imprint ceremony, where we can be doing something that's good for the business, but it's also getting our brand out there and putting our brand in front of more and more people so that we can grow the Legion. One thing that you'll see built through all of our objectives is, the number one thing that we need to do. And when I say we, I mean all of us, we need to grow the Legion. And gets the more influence we have and the more success that we'll find.
Good deal.
Want to do the last one?
Oh, the last one is communicating goals and objectives.
Which is a good segue.
Yes,
Yep.
that's part of what this is all about.
Next slide.
Damien?
All
Our
right.
secret master plan. By the way, does anybody know where the secret master plan comes from? Like that's a nod to...
This is not a trivia question. That's a good question.
Elon Musk, the CEO of Tesla.
I thought you meant with Legion M.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he published a top secret master plan
For Tesla.
to explain to people why they were starting with a 2-door Roadster convertible sports car and why that was important for the electric car industry. And that's what we wanted to do with Legion M, because a lot of people look at this and like they don't necessarily get it right off. Like they can see, oh, that's kind of cool. A lot of people think it's like a fan-made company, or sorry, a fan-made content company. Like we're all going to gather together and make fan films and that sort of stuff.
Which
And
we
that's
cut after when we're done. We can
yes,
make
yeah. Who's in?
Yeah.
All right. So Damien, you want to go to the next slide? So there's a great article that we wrote. Literally, the secret master plan is online. If you haven't read it yet, just out of curiosity, anybody in this room read it?
What?
Guys, step it up.
All right, let's go. Come on. Well, good thing we're talking about
I hope the online audience. No.
Yeah.
So just go to the Legion M website. We go check out the news section, which, by the way, our news section of our website has really blossomed over probably the last 3 or 4 months, and we're making a real effort to make sure that we document
Blogs
all
and
of the
stuff,
cool stuff that we do. But there's an article that we wrote there that kind of lays it out.
Yeah.
But fundamentally, it comes down to cultivating this amazing, vibrant, engaged community. And Damien, if you can go to the next slide. Oh, sorry. Used to be the next slide. We'll talk more about the community in a second. We've got a couple slides about the community. Oh, no, you're fine, Damien. I'm sorry. Stay on that slide that you're on. So this not too long or a little bit earlier, but this is like a really unique point in history, right? This idea of a fan-owned company, like it just makes sense. And one of the biggest questions we have is like, well, why, once somebody groks it, like, why hasn't anybody ever done this before? Mm-hmm. And the fact is, like, we're at this amazing point in time where, from the technology standpoint, right? The technology has completely disrupted media and the way that people consume media and the way the whole media world works. 10 years ago, this would have been impossible because, all the media was controlled, maybe 15 years ago, by, the massive gatekeepers, right? And everything was kind of going through the system. But now that the internet has leveled the playing field, you can go directly to consumers. The fact that we have the rise of the social networks that allow people like us from all around the world to connect and combine, like this would have been really hard to do via mail. Even,
look at the technology we're using.
Even what we're doing right now. But the same thing on the content side. If you look at the rise of Netflix, right, and how important is data today?
First, there was MobiTV
for Netflix and Amazon and Google and MobiTV, which are all in the same category, by the way. And as well as community. So we think that this and the Jobs Act, I mean, from a legal standpoint, the regulatory part. So like, that's why we're so excited about this and why we're running so hard at it, is because of the fact that this is literally the first time in history that this idea has been possible. And we're the first to make sure that we beat everybody else.
Yeah, I really feel like they say that in entrepreneurialism that timing is everything. And I truly believe that. I think our timing on this company is absolutely perfect. I mean, if you had started it 5 years ago, you couldn't have done everything that we're able to do now. So the planets have aligned in a nice way to make this possible. So it's just up to us to take advantage of it.
Run with it. So, all right, Damien, next slide. Okay, so getting back to community, the fundamental secret, the Legion M secret sauce is the advantage that we get from our community, and it really boils down to two things at the highest level. One is getting into the best projects, and we talked about this earlier about how being a fan-owned company allows us to get into the best projects. There's all sorts of projects out there. Every single thing needs money, but there are really, really good projects that everybody knows is going to be successful and investors are literally fighting to get into. Yeah. And there are projects that are desperately seeking funding. And because of the fact that we represent a legion of fans, it gives us a shot at those first opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise. The second part of it, of course, is that we can make these projects more successful. And that boils down to, the fact that our investors want to come out and see their movie opening weekend, right? The fact that we did Colossal was incredibly powerful for us because we are able to show, the movie producers and these production companies the pictures of like hundreds of people, hundreds of smiling faces at a meetup opening weekend to go see this movie.
If there's time, actually, we have a video that we put together that we can share that maybe some of you have seen.
Fantastic. But
we'll hold it to see how we do on timing.
But when you show this sort of thing, the fact that even we had our very rudimentary meetup maker, for Colossal, and I don't know if did anybody here, I'm curious again, go to an opening weekend meetup for Colossal? A couple folks did. Yeah. So we had kind of this really kludgy first draft meetup maker, but even just showing that, the fact that you could click on a trailer of a Colossal ad and it would take you to a page that showed you this is where it's playing near you. And you could see, there's a meetup there and you could sign up to go to it. Or you could say, hey, I want to host a meetup of my own.
It's one of the things huge. That the distributors get so excited about.
Yeah.
When we're talking to them and we show them, I mean, we were half the size we are now when we did Colossal, and we still moved the needle. You know, if you talk to the Neon guys, they would estimate that we probably bumped that film by 15 to 20% just by being involved, which is meaningful, you know, at a movie of that size. If we can, and we're twice the size we were then, and, you know, next year will be twice or more the size we are now. So as we keep influence in that power just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the, you know, the end of the funnel, like how we support the movies that are coming out. But I mean, honestly, we could do a whole shindig about all of this stuff, you know, like, you know, the ability to use the Legions as scouts and to help us find new properties. And so I'm not going to dig in deep because we're really short on time, but Damien, can you turn the slide to the next page? So over the next couple of things, we just want to highlight some of the initiatives that we've done that I think really do a good job of kind of
Anyone here already a scout?
Scouts in the room?
I
Excellent.
saw
All right,
Excellent.
perfect.
So this is a brand new tool. It's still super rudimentary, and you know, it started off as an experiment, but I can tell you right now it is an unequivocal success. So what we did was Terry Pignon, Terry Lubroff, and I all just came back from Fantastic Fest. And while we were at Fantastic Fest, which is a film festival where we were literally looking for movies that we might buy, that the Legion might, you know, kiss into as one of our new projects. One of the big challenges is, you know, there were, I think, over 80 films that were playing there.
And that's a small amount of films
And that's,
for a festival.
Yeah, if you go to
actually.
something like Toronto, where these guys were,
That's very curated.
It's massive. And so what we did was we built this little tool that allowed all the members of the Legion to log in, watch the trailers for the movie, and rate them and evaluate them. And what you're seeing here is a screenshot of part of the output. So this is the data that we got from people, so that when we were looking, and you know, at every time slot, we had 5 movies to choose from, and we had to choose which one movie we were going to go see, or you know, maybe we'd spread out and see 2 or 3 of them. But we would literally look at this, look at the data, see what people were most interested in, and it's a way for us to harness the crowd and to figure out, to make better decisions. And again, we have a really special opportunity because I mean, Netflix owns the industry right now. Like they just own it. And it's in a huge part because the data, they know what people want. And it used to be that allowed them to pick which projects they wanted to buy. Now they're just like, well, forget that. We're going to choose which projects we're going to make, right? Because we know that there's a market for a show that fits this data characteristics. And so, you know, Netflix does that, obviously. Google and YouTube and Amazon, they know what you buy. And there's a lot of different data out there. But we stand in a really unique place because we have the ability to tap into the data of an enormous body of people that kind of crosses across all that, right? Like we're not talking about just like what's on Netflix, but like what's in the theater this weekend, right? Or which of the new pilots should you be watching?
What books are you reading?
Yeah, what books are you reading? Like what should we pick up? Like if we can find a hot new book, we've got the data. Let's buy the rights to that and start talking about turning that into a project. And
well, it also has the ancillary benefit of letting us know what you're interested in. Right. Because a big part of what we want to invest in and get behind, if we're getting behind projects that the Legion isn't excited about, then it doesn't make any sense. So we want to, it's like a two-way street. You know, when we're doing these scout programs, you're telling us what you like and what genres you're interested in. And that's super important data for us to have. I mean, we did a lightweight version of this at Toronto Film Festival, which was also really helpful. And that information, it's interesting because like a lot of the companies that we meet with, they might have 5 or 6 people there that are going out looking at films. And, you know, we use this analogy where we want to be like the kid in their shopping cart, right? When they're walking up and down, looking at films to buy, you know, they know that they've got the Legion M, you know, team like pointing at things that they like. And I think having this data and knowing kind of ahead of time, what film should we go see? You know, and what are people interested in? I think it's supremely valuable and makes and what's interesting about it, and you'll find this in a lot of the stuff that we do, it makes going to a film festival like this for us that much more effective. But it also is an opportunity for the community to have a voice and to go to a film festival and create these experiences that let's face it, until now, have been kind of for the industry. You know, you
Yeah.
got to be an industry
Yeah.
insider to go do these things. And
It's
have
kind
a
of trying
voice.
to open the gates of Hollywood. And so,
Yeah. So it feeds itself. It's,
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like I said, this is just the very first step. We expect to do a lot in this, and whether it's, we'd love to be able to get screeners and let people watch screeners of movies that we're considering. We'd love to create a system that allows people to submit projects, like anybody in the world can submit a project.
Yep.
And we could set up a system like a, kind of a tiered system where a
we
group of scouts
filter.
look at it, and if it's good enough, it gets elevated to the next tier.
Yeah.
And we might find something completely new from some
Yeah.
completely unknown place.
I mean, the bottom line, what you'll find in all of this is that what we care about is multifold, right? So we care about finding great content. We also care about building the right tools to make doing that smarter than anyone else at
Yeah.
doing it. And you know, it's one of the interesting things that about having a Northern California, Southern California mashup of a media company is that we care about the technology,
Yeah.
right? I mean, not just the media, but how does technology make us better at creating media?
Yeah.
And
All right, next
All right,
slide,
yep.
please.
technology.
These are some screenshots of the new Meetup Maker, and we don't need to belabor this. We already talked about it. It's way, way, way better.
Yep.
And again, we're going to continue to invest in this because being able to get people out to meetups for the opening of a movie, or even just general Legion M meetups. Is something important to us, again, to be able to demonstrate to the industry. And
And it's about the experiences too.
yeah,
You
oh
know,
yeah,
again,
yeah.
It's about
yeah.
like
Yeah, it's
creating
funny.
those experiences. Like, I mean, we'll watch that Colossal video later, but you know, the fact that we moved the needle for Colossal, but we did it by having fun and like getting people together in groups like this to go see a movie and then get a drink and meet people. That's like amazing. So that's the kind of meta type things that we want to be able to do.
All right, next slide, please, Damien.
Oh, yes.
So one of the other big initiatives that we wanted to announce is that we have a brand new, we've created a position, and Terry Pignon, who has been our East Coast rock star. She was one of the very earliest investors in Legion M. She organized a ton of meetups.
She organized
up
the
there.
very first meetup.
Yeah, she did.
Like-
She did.
I mean, honestly, we weren't even like meetups were maybe in the back of our mind somewhere, but then Terry's like, "Oh, I'm organizing a meetup." We're like, "Meetups, it's such a good idea."
And
Give
so
me.
when we went to Colossal, this was one of the meetups that she helped organize and spearhead and did all the
Made the
lead
cupcakes.
work. She literally made those cupcakes herself. This was all as a volunteer. And
Yeah.
so she's made such a contribution. And because we really wanted to double down and figure out how to get, how to do a better job of coordinating our volunteers, she has officially joined the Legion M team. She still has a day job,
Yeah.
but now, she's getting paid some to work on behalf of Legion M,
Yeah.
and to help us get better. And Damien, if you can tune to the next slide. Part of the reason why we chose Terry is because she's amazing, but we also had incriminating photos from.
This is how we got her to come on board. There was no question. She
From the
couldn't say
Colossal.
no.
Yeah, exactly. We had the goods. So, and what I love about these, which is incredible, like she's a real talent, is there's nobody else in that photo, right? Like you can actually see where if there was a person there, the arm would be. So she had to stage that whole thing and
then
take the
a
photo
selfie.
by herself. So
She did this the morning after the premiere in New York.
yeah,
It was
yeah. So
hilarious.
a night to remember. So, all right, next
All
slide.
right, we have another trivia opportunity. All right, so who here knows where the M in Legion M comes from? And stands for. Should we do that one local?
No.
No. All right,
Again.
we'll do one local.
We're gonna do one with you guys.
Yeah.
then.
Shao.
Ciao!
I thought you were coming, Shao.
Oh, thank
You'd think I would miss this.
you.
There's no way. There was no way I would miss this. So it's a Roman numeral for million, but I don't need to win any prizes.
That's
Yep.
good. If you got that wrong, Shao, there would be
Yeah.
serious
I'd be really
consequences.
That
Shao's
was an
another
easy
one
one.
of our extraordinary volunteers
Yep,
that's
exactly.
done a lot of stuff. And one of our, I don't think it's too much to say that he was a Valor Award shortlist. And it's so
Yeah.
hard to choose the Valor Awards because there's so many of them.
Valor Award pending.
Yes. So anyway, thank you very much,
Next.
Shao. Glad at
Thank
least-
you, Shao.
All right, next slide.
All right. Where are we now?
Popped up with the question, but it disappeared.
Oh,
okay.
Wanted to
Well-
know where you could find Scout and Meetup Maker.
Oh yeah. So Scout is legionm.com/scout. And Meetup Maker is a longer URL. Right now, the only meetups that were in it were this one in Austin that already concluded. But we'll put a link to that up on our website. I apologize.
Yeah,
that-
we can put it in the forums and on our website.
Yeah,
and post
yeah.
on Facebook as
yeah,
well.
yeah, we'll do. Yeah, exactly. Is Meetup Maker a standalone?
Standalone, or does it work like the official, that other?
No, it's completely standalone. We're not.
Yeah.
This isn't
it's
associated
not.
with the website Meetup. This is a little
Yeah.
tool that
This
we
is
built.
like our own, and it allows us to kind of customize it and do specific things that we want to be able to
Yeah.
do with it.
All right. So the next section is about kind of a going forward strategy review. And this is where we just wanted to give you guys a little bit more insight into the way that we're looking at these opportunities and where they lie. We're going to have to breeze through it fairly
already
quickly because it's
6 or
already
7.
7 o'clock and we want to make sure that everybody can get out of here. We will stay after if anybody has questions.
Yeah, we'll be here.
And we're happy to answer questions either for the people.
Well,
in
we're
the room
scheduled
or
to
online.
7:30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we got another half hour, but we also have a
Is
lot of
everybody
stuff.
okay?
I'll also say this, if there's anything that we don't cover, or if there's anything that we don't cover enough, let us know because we're more than happy to set up another shindig
Oh, yeah,
that's maybe
absolutely.
focused on the business or the slate
Well, and
or
we can do our Facebook Live. too.
grammar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's other ways that we can handle it. So anyway, high level with Legion M, our goal in life is we really boil it down to 3 things, which is make money, have fun, and change the world. And I think that this image expresses it so well because like we said, this was a money-making opportunity. I can't tell you how much flack we've
Wow.
received on Facebook from people that see video or news about our party. And they're like, I can't believe you're wasting all of your investors' money to throw this lavish party in the Hollywood Hills with Stan Lee. And we're like, well, yeah, it actually was a lavish party in the Hollywood Hills with Stan Lee, but it made our investors money. And
Right, yeah.
the second, have fun, I think is pretty obvious. The third one, the fact that in this, helped change the world. We left an indelible mark on Hollywood Boulevard
Yeah,
that will
a
be
very
there
worthwhile one.
forever. And what I love most about this photo is that you can see the names of the people behind Stan. This was the prime photo that was, we had what was it? I think it was 21 or 27 video crews that were filming this. And there was probably another 40 photographers and reporters. They had grandstands for all of the press that was there to cover this event.
The
This was
PR
the view.
exposure on this event was over 20 million.
Yeah, this
when you
was the
add up
view.
everything
And
that
if
we
you look
got.
behind it,
And
you
it
can
was
see,
all Legion M doing this for Stan Lee.
yeah, you can see the names of the fans that made
Yeah.
this happen. So
And
anyway,
our
so
plan right
this
there.
next section is about the first one, which is make money. And it's because of the fact that obviously having fun is important to us. We
Yep.
want to give everybody an emotional ROI. How can we fund by owning stock in the Legion? But making money is what makes it all possible.
Right.
Because if we don't take care of that, this is going to be a very short ride.
Right.
And anyway, so like I said, I'm not going to go into these into too much detail, but really there's kind of 4 pillars. Damien, you want to flip to the next slide? The first one is external projects. And so by external Field Guide to Evil and Colossal, these are other people's projects, right? Where they're driving the bus and we get in either early, like we did with Field Guide to Evil, where we invested before production started, or late, like we did with Colossal, where we invested after we had a chance to see the movie. And there's advantages, to both, right? The early stage is much higher risk reward. Plus you've got more of a chance to impact it. The later, you get to see the movie and see if it's any good, right? Because the fact is, everybody starts out trying
But
to make
your
a good
upside
movie.
is limited.
Yeah, everybody's. But anyway, so there's a lot of advantages and disadvantages to this sort of project. The thing I'm just going to draw your attention to is when you look at the keys to success, how can we get on the best projects? The number one point is the size of the Legion, right? We're 7,000 now, which makes it
20,000
a lot
if you include
easier.
members.
Yeah. 7,000 investors, 20,000 members. That's a really good point, which makes it much easier than where we were when we did the Colossal deal and we had 3,000 investors and about 8 or 10,000 members. So next slide, Damien. The second pillar is original development. So these are ideas that we come up with. So Icons is a great example. We thought of that idea. We signed Stan, we signed Kevin, we hired the production crew, we own the rights to that footage, right? And so there's a lot of advantages to doing original development. That's like production. So we've got 2 projects, and Paul alluded to this earlier, that are in production like that. One is Icons, the other is Pitch Elevator, all completely owned by us. We also have dozens of other ideas that are in some stages of development. And that's where, Terry will talk about this a little bit later, but the projects that are in development are ones where we have an idea and we flesh it out. We try and attach some talent to it. But we're not necessarily spending money to go into production on it. Yep. So anyway, the advantages and disadvantages, again, I'm not going to go into that. But again, if you look at the keys to success, the number one thing is the size of the Legion, because when it comes to monetizing these projects and selling them, we're trying to sell Pitch Elevator to a network. We're trying to sell Icons to either, one of these emerging VR platforms, or maybe a sponsor or a company like Oculus. Being able to say that you've got 20,000 people, that are interested in this project, that own a stake in it, like that's actually a pretty big number in VR today, right? Because VR is such able to come to a manufacturer and say, hey, we think we can probably get like 20,000 downloads. Like that's big enough, because that's such a nascent industry that those guys are interested, because they're all investing in their companies trying to win, so that when VR becomes this big, they're the Netflix of VR. And so anyway, next slide, please. The third pillar of development is live events. And so, the obvious example for this one is the Stan Lee one. There's a couple other ones that we've done, which is we did a premiere party for Rogue One when that came out at the Chinese Theater. We did a Rave of Thrones at Comic-Con last year in San Diego, where Christian Narn from Hodor from Game of Thrones, who's also an EDM artist, DJ'd, and we had a huge party there. And all of these 3 right now, we didn't do them to make money. We did them to gain exposure. There is a great way to evangelize the Legion, but it's
and we think of them as like projects on our slate, because they oftentimes are either that is licensable or monetizable, or it's growing our Legion, and we're still producing something. We're producing an event that's an experience, and it generates. And
it's something that we're also looking. I mean, there's really interesting ways where we can think of like going on tour, so to speak. With a particular set of content. And again, we don't have time to kind of get into it too much, but it's all.
We still have a lot of slides. I'm worried.
One thing I'll point out at this point is that all 4 of these columns are really kind of synergistic. Right. We're not doing live events because we think that live events are fun. I mean, that's part of it. And because of the exposure. But when we go talk about how we're going to promote a film, sometimes live events is part of that proposal.
Right.
Along with the next one, which Damien, I'll spoil the surprise. It's merchandise. And so, we've obviously got our Legion M gear store where we sell, all of the shirts. Again, we're not making a ton of specifically price them so that it's a really good deal for you guys compared to the quality of the shirts and the quality of the products. But we also, Stan Lee, we did a lot of merch for the Stan Lee event. We did merch for a Colossal event. And so again, when we talk to these content companies, it's not just the fact that we can bring fans to the table to come see the project, but it's also, hey, there's merchandise opportunities, limited edition posters, t-shirts, things that those movies might not have otherwise that can help make their calculus work. All right, next slide, please. So the big rocks
Let's just go through this quickly.
Yeah.
So our big rocks on objective, obviously, the first and the biggest priority for us, and it will be for many years probably, is to continue to grow the Legion. We also want to grow revenue. We want to level up on projects and get into additional projects. Unlock the power of the Legion. This is all the things that Jeff had alluded to earlier about the different tools and the products that we have to allow us to kind of coalesce and take advantage of the power of our investor base and the community that we have.
Yeah. So the next couple of slides are just a couple of the goals. One of the things that we said that we wanted to focus on was being more proactive about setting objective goals so people can kind of understand where we're coming from. And anyway, as a company, our philosophy is like we want to set high goals. We want to try and really push ourselves. And I think when you're growing a company, like it's one of the keys to success is always kind of pushing. So what you're going to see here, the first one, growing the Legion, is the single most important thing that we can do as a company. And so in year one, we raised 1.2 million from about 3,200 investors. In year two, and just so everybody's clear, we're calculating these years, from basically the founding of the company, which was March of 2016 to 2000. And so right now we're kind of midway through year two. And so what you can see is we've already exceeded what we did last year. And we're close to halfway to our goal for year two. So we're about halfway through it. We want to keep our foot on the gas and accelerate through the end of year two. And we're hoping to add another 9,000 total investors. That'd be another 5,000, which should get us probably about 12,000 investors total. And hopefully our total membership would be up to maybe 25 or 30,000 with that. Next slide, please. Growing revenue. Revenue is obviously super important, and it's, we say all the time that what we're building this for is where the company is in 5 years from now. So the amount of revenue is almost inconsequential today because, it's like
the key
saying
is really to keep building on it.
Yeah. It's like, Walt
compared
Disney
to how we did last year.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the point I was going to make is you don't judge Walt Disney Pictures by the success of Oswald the Rabbit, right? That was just like the stepping stone that got to the next place. Yeah. But like we said, what's important now is that we're demonstrating the ability. So like the Stan Lee, it showed that we could go out and get sponsorship money. Yeah. Which, it's easy to wave your hands and say, oh yeah, we're going to be ad supporter. We're going to get sponsors. Yeah. But, a lot of people fail at that, right? That's their business plan and they go out and try and sell it and they are unsuccessful because it's really hard to sell advertising. The fact that we were able to do it, the fact that we were able to bring sponsors on board, we've got a network, which now makes it so much easier. We're already talking to a lot of the people that sponsored Stan Lee about sponsoring our pitch elevator project. And more. That it just, it makes the next step easier. So for us, the focus on revenue is to focus on generating because it helps offset our burn and the revenue is great, but it's also it's building so that we get to the point that we want to go. Next one, Damien. Leveling up on projects. Again,
we talked about this.
Yeah, I'm not going to go through it too much, but we have internal goals that we set for projects, how many new projects we want to get into and what sorts of projects.
Well, and one of the things that when you look at our three pillars, why we want to be kissing into produce projects, but also getting involved in things that are starting production is we want there to be diversity in a lot of different ways. So one of them being that, as a member of the community, that you have stuff to go and view and to get behind right now. But that there's also stuff that we can go behind the scenes and see what's going on stuff that's involved earlier in the production.
Good deal. Next slide, please. And then the last one, again, is just unlocking the power of the Legion. I think that we've talked about this. These are some of the initiatives that we've got. And we're not going to go through and explain them. So that's it. Next slide.
Right. Oh, yeah. So part of our growth goal is something that, we're obviously centered around and thinking up and coming up with authentic ways for us to get the Legion message out to a broad audience, but we also count on you guys. And we think that there's a lot that you guys can do to help us build the business. And, there's the obvious things like get in the Facebook and follow us on Twitter and those things. But also, if everyone that's a current investor took the objective of introducing and bringing 2 new friends this year to the Legion, then we would hit our goals, and we want to make that easy for you. And we, part of the reason why we're so centered around like things like Stanley, the Stanley event and all those events, and then finding new cool projects is those are great opportunities to bring in a friend, to say, hey, I'm a part of this. Do you want to come to this, once in a lifetime opportunity? So it's our goal is to create those opportunities. But what we ask of you is that you take opportunities and, bring in your 2 coolest friends. We know that there are some here tonight that are probably brand new to Legion M, and that's
Who in the room got dragged here?
yeah, who's been dragged, yeah. And there may be some out there as well, but
Yes.
but that's our request of our Legion is
Yes.
To pitch in.
Did they come the same way we came in through WeFunder, or?
Yeah,
Well-
so right now they can join for free. They don't get any shares by joining, but they can become a member. They can come into the Facebook group. They can come to events like this. They can participate. When we open the round, they'll be among the first to know that the round is open. But yeah, so. And it will work the same way. The next round that we open will very likely be through WeFunder, and it'll be just the same thing.
Yeah, we're expecting our next round to open later this year. So, and one last thing on this is, and this is important to us, like, we say, like, we tastefully want people to help us spread the words. And that's just our way of saying, like, we never want to put you guys in
Don't
anybody
drag
in a
someone to
situation
something they don't want to do.
where it makes somebody feel uncomfortable, right? Or
This We're not Amway.
yeah,
Okay? Nothing
yeah.
against Amway, but
Yeah.
we're not a pyramid scheme. We're nothing like that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's,
really,
it's not a cult. There is Kool-Aid, but it's
Yeah.
not.
what we want is, if you're enjoying it and
Yeah.
you like what we're doing, then, tell
then
people about it.
yeah, it helps. It helps to spread the word.
And it
So,
and it almost goes without saying. I mean, we mention it, but we also want to acknowledge that people are already doing it. Like case in point here, and people wearing their Legion gear. And I mean, it's one of the things that we're so grateful for. I mean, even when we're not marketing, there's still people joining the Legion, and that's coming from you guys. So thank you.
excellent.
All right.
Next slide, please.
Our 4th and almost last trivia opportunity. Where did the pitch elevator first appear? All right. Oh, yeah.
They
We
were,
were
there.
there.
That's where we met them.
That would be LA Comic Con, which would be Stanley's LA Comic Con.
Yep.
Kamikaze.
Perfect.
Stanley's Los. He even got the nomenclature right. So well done, Michelle and Matan.
All right.
Wait,
all right.
actually, who answered? That was Matan.
Yeah, we
right?
got to figure out.
All right, next slide, please.
So I think for the next slides, we're going to bring Terry Luberoff up on stage.
And so real quick as a time check, I'm sensitive to everybody at home can just leave when they get tired. I want to let you guys know if anybody needs to leave or bored silly
or
or
if
you
you're
need to escape.
boiling hot. All right.
We won't be offended.
I'm recording Empire. I'm yours.
Oh, perfect. All right, good.
Excellent.
Good.
All right, T. Luberoff.
T, take it away.
Hello. So now is the time when we can talk about the slate and the strategy that Legion M has on our slate. So Damien, if you want to move forward to the next slide. We can bring David up too, I think, if we have a little extra room on the platform. So when we're looking at the slate for Legion M, we are always keeping the word diversification in mind. And we have 3 pillars of success when we talk about diversification of our slate. And that includes projects that are in late stage development or that we can acquire for distribution. That's number 1. Number 2 are projects that we can finance, do an equity financing investment in the production of the project or develop. And number 3 are the events and other experiences that Jeff and Paul talked about, like Stan Lee and Rave of Thrones and things like that. So Damien, if you could go to the next slide. Okay, so we just talked about diversification of the slate, but a lot of people ask us about diversity and what Legion M's stance is on diversity. And when we say the word diversity, there's really a lot that goes into that word, and we're not just talking about having a slate that has a lot of different projects. When we talk about diversity, we're talking about telling unique stories from different points of view and different perspectives. Telling stories from creators and storytellers that don't have a voice as often as people who work within the studio system. And David and I, when we're looking for content, approach it with an eye on how we'll further that mission. And so our first film, Colossal, accomplished that mission, I think. I don't know what you think, David, or anybody else thinks, but it was a female lead. The story was something that a studio would not have done, so it was a unique point of view. It was a director from Spain who had done a lot of amazing work, but it was all in Spanish language. This was his English language North American debut for distribution. And so when we're looking at diversification, we're looking at kind of an amalgamation of all those things. Am I breaking up? Someone just said I'm breaking up. I'm not breaking up with anyone. I love you all. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Okay, so that was a word about diversification. Unless, David, you have something you want to add, let's move on to the next slide.
No, absolutely. You got it.
Okay.
Got it.
Woohoo! Okay, so our first pillar is a late stage investment or acquisition for distribution. Next slide. So Paul and Jeff mentioned earlier that when we go to these film festivals, we like to tell companies who are there to make huge acquisitions and have a lot of money to spend that they should consider us the kid in their shopping cart. So as they're shopping around for films, we're kind of the kid in there who can give them a little extra information and kind of bump up if they have a proposal on the table for someone, kind of make that proposal more interesting for the filmmakers because of what we bring to the table. So we're teaming up with all kinds of distributors like Neon and A24, and we're talking to Lionsgate. And it happens while they're either in production or while they're acquiring a film at market or when they're just about to release a film. What we do is we dip in on finished projects, and we partner as an investor in P&A, which means print and advertising, with an established distributor. Or we haven't done this yet, but it's part of the plan, is to acquire and distribute some of our own projects that we think are hidden gems that need a chance to be seen by the world. When we start this process is usually as the project is either in post-production or completely finished, because there's much less risk. We know if it's good or bad. And we do it with everyone that's involved with the project: talent, a studio, a distributor, writers, directors, and we offer them the opportunity to partner with their fans, which is something they don't get with a normal, marketing plan. It's pretty exciting. They get an invested and engaged audience. The projects hit the market quickly, so you guys in the Legion don't have to wait forever for our first project to come out, because feature film production can take years. We have a faster return on investment window from the time it's released to the time we recoup our investment on these types of projects. And it also allows us to build a library, which is a good way to build the underlying value within the company. So that slide's been up for a while. I think you probably had time to read what the opportunities are. So maybe because we're running short on time, we'll just go ahead and go to the next slide. So very quickly, we wanted to give you a primer on late stage participation. Some people with Colossal ask, why isn't Legion M's name in the print? And we weren't in the print because it was locked. By the time our deal was done, the print was locked, and it costs tens of thousands of dollars to open up that print and insert our credit. So just to let everybody know, when we are coming on board these late stage acquisitions, Legion M is not going to get credit in the print of the film. So what we did with Neon in particular is we created other assets, a movie trailer where our name was in it. We were doing t-shirts and posters and things like that. So we look for ways to make sure the Legion M name is stamped on there, but it's not always going to happen on the print itself, depending on when we come in. David, you want to talk about acquisitions and how we find projects?
Sure, absolutely. So is it okay? Are you guys getting a bit of an echo?
I can hear you.
You guys are
I
okay?
can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So, in terms of finding projects, both Terry and I have many years of experience as development executives. And so we have years of relationships that we've built. Obviously, the places that we can find material are from studios, from established writers, and from you guys. I mean, that's one of the things that when we first got started is we were stunned by just how many amazing creative people there are who were interested in Legion M. Unfortunately, we have to find a way to do this that protects the writers and the company. And so that was one of the reasons why we, put together Pitch Elevator as a way to kind of allow people to express their ideas. We will be eventually having a system by which people can submit, but for now, unless it is an attorney or through an agent are basically the ways that we get things. The other way that we find material is just by sort of listening to what you guys are interested in, and that guides how we filter and read and prioritize our time. And it's actually really exciting because it helps us guide, trying to find films, but also trying to find books, comic books, different kinds of IP that can eventually become a television show, a feature film, even a VR experience. Is that pretty good, Terry?
That's perfect. Can you hear me? Am I unmuted? Okay, good. Thank you, David.
You are.
We're going to try to move fast because we're really running low on time. Wait, Damien, go back 1 second. Sorry.
Exactly.
To the previous slide. Where is the previous slide?
Where's the slide?
Well, I think it said that if people are wondering about, because we've been asked in the past few months, can you read my project, or are you looking for movies? And we've said, no, we're not currently open. We are currently open as of 2 weeks ago, and we will be open probably for the next 3 or 4 months. What that means is that when I say open, I mean we're seeking finished projects right now. So if anybody in the Legion knows of a finished project that's really great that we need to be aware of, maybe you saw it at a film festival or a friend is working on it, please reach out to us. We are really eager to learn about what's out there, and we're eager to become involved in the projects that work for us from both a creative and a financial perspective. So I think Damien is rolling through all the slides here. I'll bring up my own version of the slides so I can keep going. Please participate in the Scout system. For those of you who are wondering what it is, we talked about it a little earlier if you're just now popping on. And sorry, we're just missing slides here. And a lot of other people are asking what the Legion M brand is. So the Legion M brand is anything a fan would love to see on a panel at Comic-Con. So that's a pretty wide, that's a pretty wide and diverse explanation of what the Legion M brand is. It could be a horror film, it could be a comic book movie, and it could be Breaking Bad. So when you're looking at things, keep in mind that it's really for the fans. So if it's something that fans would enjoy and would like, that's great for us. Are we back up on the? No, we're still not back up. So I'm just going to use my own deck. I'm going to keep moving on. The second part of our pillars of strategy for diversification of content are the financing, development, and production of content. So on the financing side, we're not a studio. We don't have a ton of money. So a lot of people will send us a script and say, hey, will you produce my script? We don't have enough money to do that yet. Eventually, we will have enough money to do that. But what we can do now is partner with other producers and other financiers and put a small piece of that puzzle into place so that project can move forward. We did that on Field Guide to Evil, for an example, and we can do that during the development on early stage projects. If you guys aren't familiar with that term development, because it means something different to tech people than it does to entertainment people, development means that we're guiding a script creatively for optimum storytelling, packaging, and commercial potential. Production is the physical production of a project. And we source Legion M projects from both internal and external sources. So talking about externally sourced projects, some current projects include Field Guide to Evil, which is a feature film in production, currently in production. We've taken some footage and gone to a couple of Comic-Cons and been able to talk about that footage. We hope to have some behind the scenes footage soon to show people. And it's a very exciting project that should be finished in 2018. Another project that we actually haven't formally announced, but I'm pleased to be able to talk about it tonight, is a television project called Malice. And it's a TV drama political thriller, which is kind of, it's set in Philadelphia, and it pits two brothers against each other. Between politics and the police force. And it's fabulous. And believe it or not, I met the writer at a colossal meetup. And I knew his agent very well. And we had a great meeting, and it took off from there. So that's very exciting for everyone. We have another TV project in development, which we can talk about, called Airship Cowboys, which is an irreverent animated TV comedy. And it's basically Westworld meets South Park. And it's fabulous. And again, the writers are so talented, and we're in the midst of packaging that. On the projects that are in development, when we say packaging, we're putting together a showrunner, which is kind of the head writer of a project. Sorry, I'm getting text at the same time. And maybe a good director or a piece of talent. Okay. I still don't see the deck, but I'm going to keep moving forward.
It's up there.
Oh, it's up. Well, if I hit refresh, I may lose everyone. So
just keep talking.
Right now we're on. Okay, I'll keep talking. The way we get these externally sourced projects are through referrals. We're a small staff. We have a small budget. We can only take a limited amount of referrals. So for those of you who are like, why won't they look at my project? It's not that we don't want to. And we're figuring out a way to make that happen eventually. We just don't have the ability to do it right now. We also are using Pitch Elevator as a source of ideas. That's coming directly from the Legion, and whoever wins Pitch Elevator is going to have a project that is going to be in active development, which is fantastic. And coming soon, we're going to have a reading core and book club suggestions, and those are all ways to find externally sourced projects. Internally sourced projects, if you go on to the next slide, Damien, include Pitch Elevator, the Pitch Elevator winner, which we already talked about, Icons, and a part of Icons called the Afterword. We have a couple of unscripted television series which revolve around the Jobs Act, called Upside, New York Rock Exchange, and we have one that's just called Legion M for now, for lack of a better title. We have another unscripted television project called Drive, which I think we're going to be seeing a video for tonight. I'm super excited about it. It's unique and different, and it showcases part of the entertainment industry that does not get a lot of credit, but certainly gives us a lot of thrills. We're also going to be launching a book, and it will be a crowd-sourced, crowd-written book from members of the Legion, which we will be publishing, and Tales from the Legion will be launching later this year. Okay. Oh, yeah, I don't see the questions, guys. I'm going to have to refresh. If I lose you as I refresh, David, maybe you could take over for a minute?
Absolutely. Just need the next.
Oh, it says,
the
where
next
does one
one.
submit finished projects? Feel free to email me directly or email team@legionm.com and it'll get to me. And has a network asked for rights to either of the TV shows? We have not finished packaging the TV shows. We haven't gone to market with them yet. As soon as the shows are packaged, we'll go to market. Were those the only two questions? Did I get it right?
I think you did.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So next slide. So we've talked about Pitch Elevator a lot. It's unique because it's a 2-for-1 idea. It's a digital series that we've developed, and we're going to be premiering as an actual digital series in beta test later this year or early next, and then an actual full-blown series which will be distributed by Nerdist in 2018. And it's great because there's a live and real life element to it. There's also an online element to it, and it's really interactive. So we love that series because of that, but we also love it because it gives the Legion an opportunity to pitch their ideas. And the winner of those pitches, as you all know, will have their project go into active development. We also have Icons Face-to-Face, and I'm just going to blow through the rest of these because we've talked about all of them. Icons has an initiative called the Afterword. And I don't know if this is all in there. Is this in there?
It's not on the.
I still don't have access to the deck, guys.
No, there's nothing about the Afterword on the slide.
Okay, what's the next slide, David? Maybe you can tell me.
The next slide is the Afterword.
Oh, it is on there. Okay.
It's there now.
Okay, great. So the Afterword is tangentially related to Icons in that we are going to be filming an Icons last words, and that will be locked away in a vault until the unfortunate day that icon passes, and on an agreed upon time with that icon, we will be releasing that to the world. We've gotten amazing feedback on the idea, and it's part of the Icons initiative, but it can also be a standalone series in itself or special. So we're also very excited about that. What's the next slide, David?
Jobs Act, Upside, New York Rock Exchange, and Project.
Okay.
Greenlight
Yeah,
Meets
those
Jobs
are just some
Act.
of the projects that we're working on that have integration with the Jobs Act. And we have a new project initiative on the next slide.
There it is.
That Drive? There's Drive.
Yeah.
We have a video that we can show people on Drive.
Let's do it.
I hope we do. Let's do it if we do. It's awesome. Takes a
Turn
minute.
up your speakers. Get that bass going.
An intimate knowledge of physics, an innate understanding of complex mechanics, death-defying car crashes. These are the job requirements of stunt drivers. You've seen their work in Fast and Furious, Deadpool, John Wick, Wonder Woman, Baby Driver, and Transformers. Now, go behind the scenes to watch these death-defying performers in their element. Legion M, the world's first fan-owned entertainment company, brings you the best stunt drivers in Hollywood as they compete against each other to create the most kick-ass car chase ever. 3 of the best stunt teams in the world go head-to-head as they develop a complex car chase for uncompromising producers of a national car commercial. This series will take viewers for a ride along a little-known and enigmatic profession that requires brains and guts. In the end, only one stunt team can win. This is Drive.
What does everybody else think? You there, Terry? You seem to be frozen. Anyway, Terry's gone, but oh wait, I think Terry's back.
Difficulties. Did the video play? I couldn't even
It
see.
did. It absolutely played. Did the rest of you guys see it?
I hope everybody.
if your camera's on, give us a thumbs up.
We're super excited about it. In fact, a Legion M investor and member named Eddie Perez, who's a fabulous stunt driver, is going to be producing this with us. And we're super excited. This is a super rough cut of the initial sizzle reel that we'll be using to try to sell the project. We literally did this in basically 24 hours. So if you have criticisms, believe me, we do too. We'll be fixing it later, but we wanted you guys to have a chance to see it early. Let us know what you think. I'm so excited to hear what everybody thinks.
I think Jeff and Paul want to come back.
All right,
Yes.
we're back on. Yeah, we want to thank you, Terry and David. Can you guys hear us?
Everyone.
Yes.
You can hear us? All right, awesome. Well, as you can see, we've got more information and content that we want to share with you. And we probably our mouths were in this case putting material
too much
together.
Too much yakking.
But so we appreciate you and believe it or not, there's still a lot of stuff that we want to communicate. That drive project is something that we're really excited about. Also, Afterward is another kind of add-on component. Both of these things are very early. Like, we're just finishing up the materials. That sizzle we got in earlier today. We'll show it here. It didn't play for us, but we'll show it afterwards. But we've got a lot of stuff on the slate and a lot of exciting things, and we're going to be aggressive about getting those things out there into the ecosystem. But I think at this point, we should probably move to questions, and then maybe we'll do the final trivia trivia question at the end. So Damien, do you have access to the question?
Do you take interns? Is from Shell.
It's a good question. Talk to Terry Pignon. She's in charge of our interns now.
We're absolutely very wide open to it. It's actually troubling. One of the challenges, or troubling is not the right word. It's difficult because one of the challenges is there's a lot of rules around interns with California labor law.
Yeah.
And so, we want to make sure that we're, playing by the rules and all that sort of stuff. And we also, like you saw with Terry Pignon, we also believe in there was a flare up on Facebook about, people that were talking about, asking to get free work done, for graphic design. And, we think that there's definitely a line, between someone who volunteers and is offering stuff and kind of exploiting people and that sort of stuff. And we're very committed to making sure that when it's stuff that you'll see, all the stuff that we get revenue from and that we're out there selling and that sort of stuff is stuff that we pay people for. And we create opportunities. Terry Pignon, was, for her work. When it's, fun little stuff, like these little buttons
Designing a button
that we made for
or a
Fantastic
t-shirt
Fest.
design competition. I mean, we feel like in those circumstances, it's kind of fun to put it out for people that want to. And of course, there's never an obligation,
Yeah. And it's the sort of thing, we just, as a company, we can't afford to pay somebody to create a button like that. There's
Not
no
how we
ROI.
should be spending our money.
It's a free button, So if it was going to be Paul or I that designed it, because we usually do the buttons, but in this case, John Biscardi came forward with a great design, and we got a chance to see him in Austin, and he really enjoyed the opportunity. For him, he said he's not a professional graphic designer. For him, this was a creative outlet, and so the ability to get that seen by people is really valuable and was really meaningful for him. And so, anyway,
all right.
Next question. It says, how can we get the names of the people in our state to create a meetup? That's a great question. So with the Meetup Maker, the way that it works now is you can go in and you can sign up to create a meetup. And you can also, as a user, you can check and you can see all the meetups in your area, and you can sign up to go to a meetup. right? But that would be a great feature for us. Not that we would be able to turn over the names of people in your state, but what we
Well,
could
we're building
do,
a database, and it'll be an opt-in database where if people
Yes.
want to allow others to see them and see
Yeah.
where they live and all those things.
but I was going to say, aside from that, we also have the ability right now to do a targeted email. So like
Yeah.
if you were going to have a meetup next week, and you registered in that system,
Yeah.
you can just contact us, or, we'll
We'll
send
help
out
you
a
get the
text
word out.
blast to everybody within, 50 miles of you.
That's going to be part of the meetup maker. I mean, part of it is to facilitate and to help volunteers that want to organize a meetup do it and make it easier on them, and to help them promote it and send them some swag and all those things. So that's one of our initiatives for this year.
As long as the location is a part of the application, it should be fairly easy. Because if I go in there and I should say I want to create a meetup with people near me,
Yep.
like you said, people in that location, as long as I have my location on my phone and it's on your app or the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it use the location? Does the meetup maker use?
It actually can.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
point.
remember right now if I make you manually enter your zip code, or because it prompts you and you gotta accept the location. And so, Damien, are you posting these questions, or Xiao really has his finger on the button? I don't know, Xiao,
He's got
how
all
you figured
the
it out, but
questions. Yeah.
you need to go on Jeopardy
Yeah.
because he's got buzzer finger. He said, "What about a Legion M channel?" You're kind of watching it right now.
Yeah, this is the Legion M channel. I think it's it's something that I think over the long term it might be something to consider. It'd be in the near term, if we did anything, it would be digital versus trying to have like our own kind of like equivalent of a Discovery Channel or something like that. But
over time,
I wouldn't
again,
rule it
once
out.
the Legion gets large enough, and we've also talked about doing stuff like that for even just for internal projects. Maybe we could put together a Legion M show every week or two where users could submit their fun little videos, and maybe we do a user profile, and we can do like a segment of our live stream or answer some questions and that sort of thing.
One of the themes that we have at Legion M is we call it our big rocks. And we want to distill things down to the big rocks that matter the most, because as a startup with limited, cycles, a lot of times we have to think about what shouldn't we do right now, right? Because we've got infinite ideas and we're very creative people and come up with a lot of things, but we have to be careful not to like spread ourselves out too thinly and to stay focused on kind of doing the big rocks and getting those things done.
Next question: Does Legion M plan to have a presence at New York Comic Con next weekend? Absolutely.
David and Damien are out there. We've got
David,
a panel.
Damien,
Terry
Terry
Pignon
Pignon, obviously.
will be there.
So,
They've got a meetup scheduled. I think maybe 2 meetups. So
yeah, we'll have to put those in the meetup maker and targeted text blast that we were just talking about. This is a question regarding the financial structure of the corporation. What is the ratio of the highest paid employee to the lowest paid employee?
that's a good question.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to it. I mean, I can say like
To the lowest paid employee, I don't know, probably like 2 to 1 or something, or 1.7
I don't know.
to 1.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
I can say this generally as a company, our structure is we're a little bit kind of top heavy, meaning that it's a pretty experienced team, that we've got at the company. I mean, most startups, like if you just look at startups as a whole, most of them are run by 20 somethings that are just out of college. And, it's a small group of people. When we founded Moby TV, this is kind of a funny story. It was me and Paul and another guy, and we were in our
20s.
17 years ago. Yeah. 20s. I think Philip was in his 30s.
Barely.
But we went out, and the first thing that we did was we rented office space. Not this, it was way shittier office space.
And, but by the way, we're not paying rent here either.
Yeah. And then we hired a receptionist, and we hired an office manager, and we hired a tech developer to kind of like build out our website. And I think, Legion M, we've got a very different approach. We're much older and we're much wiser. And like, if you look at the way that Legion M is, our overhead is really small because we're focused on the important things. And so, you know, this is not a company that we have built to scale. You know, again, most Silicon Valley startups are built, you know, that you're going to start with a couple people and you're going to grow to be hundreds. We're probably structured a little bit more like a venture capitalist, right? Where you've got a small group of people that are making decisions that affect a very large group amount of money eventually. And so as a result, like if you look at our team, it's all fairly senior, I would say.
Well, we're a
and by
senior
design.
team, but we also want to keep the numbers really light. Like, we're conscientious about the burn that we have, but we're also, you know, as opposed to when we were in our 20s starting our company back then, you know, we're a lot more experienced when it comes to like legal issues and doing the SEC and the accounting and then building the website and all those things. We're super cost effective. As you look at what we're able to produce and what we're doing for the amount of money that we're spending, we're small, but we're effective. And that's kind of the way we want to keep it. We want to, you know, as we scale, like right now, the overhead for the company and the few employees that we have is what it is, but we don't expect that to change much when we've tripled and quadrupled and, you know, keep growing the size of the Legion and the funds that we're investing.
Yeah. It's like, we're kind of at the right now because of the fact that we've got a burn that's this much and our investment, you know, potential is this much. And, you know, like Paul said,
like
our hope is that when our investment potential is this much, our burn is a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, if I look back at like, even like the projects that we're making $50,000 or $100,000 bets, we're still doing the same amount of work and due diligence and everything. But if we're making a $500,000 bet, then the return's just going to be greater, but the energy that goes into it isn't that much higher because it's just the amount of money we're putting in.
So Terry Pignon confirmed we have 2 meetups. What's our next question, Damien? Is there anybody in the room that has a question? We'll give you guys a chance. No?
All right. You can ask after.
Since we have everyone here, and I want to plant a mustard seed about Los Angeles Comic-Con and getting involved with what is going to happen there. Okay, I don't know what that means, Shao.
Mustard seed.
We haven't we haven't confirmed our
I think
plans.
it sounds like Shao's going to.
I think so, and
Comic-Con.
likes mustard.
Yeah.
We haven't confirmed our plan on yet. We do hope to go. We do hope to
There's
have a
been some
panel.
activity on it recently. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, that's the Stanley Los Angeles Comic-Con.
Yeah.
And so we'll plan to be there. And like I said, we're hoping to get a panel. We're not going to have a booth like last year with the pitch elevator, but we're hoping to have some cool stuff happen there.
Shao's got another question.
Are we going to have another workshop on creating meetups? That's a great Terry Pignon question, but I can tell you right now the answer is yes. That's something that meetups are so important, you know, to us that's something we're going to just relentlessly hammer on.
In fact, we had a whole slide on Terry Pignon's initiative, so it might be worthwhile to follow up, have a shindig on that, talk about Legion M Press Corps, talk about the different. All right, Shao.
So,
all right. Anyone else have any questions?
A couple of questions about Pitch Elevator. And one thing that I want to say is we've been talking about this for a while. So, you know, we originally recorded all those pitches back last year, almost a year ago. And we've been working very hard. Like, this has been one of our main foci, over the last month or two. And we're just about ready to kind of kickstart things again. And so I would expect within the next week, we'll go ahead and kind of get that initiative restarted. As Terry alluded to earlier, we've got a great opportunity for season 2 of Pitch Elevator. But we're very excited to finish off season 1 of Pitch Elevator and use it in a lot of ways as a playtest and try out some of the exciting and innovative new concepts that we've got. And there's a lot of different ways for people to get involved with that project.
Hey guys, I'm going to jump in here to help you out with questions. The system's glitching. I swear Shao isn't asking all of these. This is coming from other.
Oh, really?
So these are all other people's questions. Cheryl Briggs is asking,
That's
are you guys
hilarious.
getting rooms
They're
for
being channeled
Sundance?
through Shao.
Okay.
Shao is the medium.
No, that's someone else. Are you getting?
So are we getting rooms and are we going to Sundance?
We are definitely going to Sundance. I don't know about the room piece of it, but we're
I know that Terra Pignon's looking into that. So
Yeah.
just in case ever you guys haven't heard, we want to go to Sundance. It's in January. It's awesome. And we just want to have a big Legion M meetup for a
This
few
is-
days
yeah.
in Park City, Utah. And
booked now.
yeah.
You
So
mean discounted rooms or give us?
Well, Terry
no.
Pignon-
Sorry.
Yeah, everyone needs to pay their own way. Yeah, just
Yeah.
to be clear, we can't pay for everyone to be there, but we want to do some cool stuff when we're there and have
And-
some meetups and
Yeah.
maybe go
Party
to some
bus
parties.
to Sundance.
And you know, people can go see movies and they can
Yep.
fill out their scout reviews, and
Yep.
I think we can take over that little town. It'll be awesome.
All right. Dean H wants to know, will Drive be a series?
That's what our hope is. So this is something that we see it as like a almost like an American Idol for stunt teams, and it could be something that this season it's all about the car chase, but next year it could be about another assignment that the stunt teams have. And as Terry mentioned earlier, we have Eddie Perez is a part of the Legion, and he's one of the top stunt people in the industry.
You won the Emmy this year, just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, for Shameless.
yeah.
And he's an amazing guy, and
He also stunt directed Deadpool, that big opening
the
sequence.
opening scene. It's
Yeah,
badass.
it's incredible. And so
Yeah.
he, so
and he
he's,
did the Weeknd's music
Yes.
video, which is really cool. I
so
mean,
he's
great.
he's a member of the Legion, and he's part of, like, that's how we met him. He's or I think David's,
Yeah.
but so he's like the perfect guy to get us, with all these different stunt teams,
Yep.
and then we've also have some amazing opportunities. Part of the reason why I think this project is such a great fit for us is because there's kind of a built-in monetization angle.
Yep.
We've got relationships with car companies from the Stan Lee event.
That's
And
where
so-
it started.
yeah, and so this idea of like, okay, well, we know the people to do it, we know a way to help monetize it, gives us a huge head start. It's not just a cool idea; it's
Yeah.
there's a backbone to it.
Yeah, and by the way, in case it didn't play, because for the folks here, we're talking about going out and getting the stunt team and Fast and Furious and Transformers, and these are the top stunt teams in the industry, and create this fun competition, but also to go deeper than that. It's not just about creating a car chase, but it's about what's the creativity and the science that goes into creating these stunts, and how do you do it safely? A lot of people, this isn't about being a daredevil. This is about, being a professional and creating these epic experiences. And so we're really excited about that one. But again, we're just getting started on it. It's just one new thing.
Phil S wants to be a driver.
All right, perfect. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do.
I've already claimed one of the
Yeah,
spots.
Legion M. Yeah,
Michelle
that
Carter
opening
is
scene with the red car, that was me.
Michelle Carter's
Go ahead,
asking, when will the first round for Pitch Elevator wrap up, and when will we know the winners?
So, like I said, I think that we're going to announce it within the next week. And what we'll do is we're going to reopen the voting, and then we're going to use that voting. I expect to narrow it down to a smaller number, and then we're going to do a little bit of fun stuff, magic, to get it down to the top 10. And we had talked about potentially doing that at Stan Lee's Los Angeles Comic-Con. I don't think the timing for that's going to work. So, it's definitely something that we expect to finish up. This year for sure. Where it's very belated, and I apologize to everybody, for that. Again, it's for good reason. It's not because we forgot about it, because we don't care.
It's because we're taking
It's
it to the
because
next
we're
level.
literally pitching
Right.
it, to sponsors and network partners and that sort of stuff, and trying to make it work.
Okay. Chris Hammersley asks, I'm in New Orleans and the film festival starts in 2 weeks. Have you thought about forming volunteer brigades that can A, spread the Legion M word, and B, look for new acquisitions, approach filmmakers?
It's a good idea.
It's an awesome
there's
idea.
so many film festivals. This is one of the things, like if you look at our objective for this year, and part of the reason why we brought Terry Pignon on board is to be better at that. That's
Yeah.
one of the that's part of our power that we need to coalesce and harness. So
Yeah.
we don't have a plan right now for New Orleans, but I think it's something that
would be fun too, because we've got this. We're calling it our Hidden Gem Initiative. But the idea is that
we're really going to start talking about.
No,
it's
you think
so late. I
Okay,
know.
that's fine.
I'm just let's save it for
Yeah.
Jeff. We do have an initiative that is interesting, and we should talk about it.
That would be a great reason for people
Who wants to
go
stay here all night? Look, we're here. We'll stay. We'll keep going. I just am sensitive.
All right, we've got 12 questions and 3 hands raised. Eric Hopkins is asking, will there ever be an opportunity, or is there now, to send in music, songs made for movies or TV? He says that he makes and owns the rights to be considered for any projects.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
absolutely. Well, I mean, one of the things that we had talked about in the past is creating this database. And again, this is one of the things that we're planning to do this year, where it's opt-in. So we're not just going to publish everybody's information, but if you have a specific skill set or something that you do, or things, and not just that you're willing to volunteer, but you want to be hired for, when we're starting production on things, or if we're needing, background music or a score for something, we would much prefer to go out and source that from within the Legion than to, have to start from scratch somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
And also to allow members of the Legion to connect with each other.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, if somebody else has a production and they're looking for music.
Yeah.
So it'll all be opt-in, of course. So it's only if you want to be listed in the directory.
Debbie Starr Jackson says she lives an hour from Sundance, and rooms and houses are going very fast. She has a couple connections, but again, they're going very fast, and you need to get your tickets.
we're all planning
Debbie-
to stay with Debbie, aren't we?
Yeah, is that cool, Debbie? I mean, can we just
How big's your house?
And Ramona Snyder was just asking, what are the dates? What dates are we planning on going for Sundance?
It'd be opening weekend. I don't know
Yeah.
what the dates are offhand, but
January.
January
There you go.
18th through what?
To about the 30th.
That's the whole festival.
That's the whole festival.
So it would be the
we
front
probably
end
go
of that. We
18th
usually
to,
would
like,
go
the
for probably a
22nd.
few days, the opening.
Right after my birthday. There you
And
go.
then we're going to get in a party bus to the Super Bowl. Michelle, can you work on that? Can you get that
get
one
the party
started?
bus going.
Greg Greason is asking, can you give any more info on the Tales from the Legion project, and will there be a certain theme for the tales, and what month will you start taking submissions?
That is a great question. Terry Luberoff would probably be the one to answer.
Do we want
Do you want to
to?
bring Terry up, or just have her, just have Greg email her?
Well, I think maybe what we'll do is, because I do think we probably owe everyone a full disclosure, like full layout of what Tales from the Legion is.
Yeah.
So maybe we can do like an email blast or a forum.
Yeah.
A lot of people who
There's a
signed up
section on
at
the forum. for that,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah,
Oh,
there's
good.
information on the forum, so we can share that out.
But nothing recent. So
Yeah.
it's from a
Yeah.
while back.
Okay. Yeah. So it needs to be picked up.
Bobby Delaney's
Hey,
Bobby
Bobby.
Delaney's letting you guys know that he's still available to the Legion M's adjunct graphic designer, and that he will work for cookies.
For cookies. All right.
Bobby Delaney, by the way, is
Yeah,
awesome.
he's
He designed the
extraordinary.
Colossal T-shirt. He saved our bacon big time on the Stan Lee event. We had to do a whole bunch of graphics
Yeah.
that we're going to play on the theater, on the screens at the Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
And he stepped in at the last minute and did that. And we
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Bobby.
Is there any way we would consider going to CineQuest in San Jose?
Oh, cool.
That's a film festival, I believe.
Yeah, CineQuest
Yeah.
San Jose would.
Yeah,
do
it's a
that.
good
End
idea.
of February. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Again,
for sure.
I really love this idea of breaking up into the small film festivals. And
Having meetups.
even if we don't go as like a company,
Yeah,
you know, sending our scouts to go check it out.
Guerrilla marketing.
That's right.
Liebert is saying that he's a member of the veterans in film and television in Chicago, and this is an untapped Legion M market. Can we create a veterans group? Liebert, I would definitely say talk to Terry Pignon about that. She's definitely the person to talk to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lee and Liebert. We met Liebert at the
We're on his
Colossal
radio
showing.
show.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
on his radio show in Chicago, and so thank you. And I know you've been asking, and again, this is one of the things that we're trying. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great idea. There's no reason why we wouldn't want to do it. It's just it's we don't have enough hands, and so now that Terry Pignon is coming on board, it's all going to be her.
Right,
just,
now we can just blame.
She's
Terry.
going to solve everything because.
Yeah, that's good.
Stuart's asking, do we have an estimate on when the drive will be fully packaged for television?
I would say probably in the next couple weeks. I think we still need to polish up that sizzle video, and we've got a lot of the elements. We're going to start talking to automobile manufacturers, and we've already had some early discussions with them. The idea came out of we had a particular sponsor and connectivity for the Stan Lee event, and we've been kind of pursuing that a little bit. And then it was just like, oh, we put 2 and 2. We had Eddie Perez, and we thought, wouldn't this be a great show? So I think it's I would say in the next couple of weeks, but we're not, we're going to start sending out materials, and we're already talking to people about it now. So.
Ashley Love this is for Terry Pignon. Ashley Love says, since we are all over, do you think we will develop some key points of contact for various areas, i.e. little legion of Terry Pignons? I would love to be a part of that. My area.
That's the best idea. That's the best idea tonight.
That is awesome.
Debbie Star Jackson
post that one on Facebook, and that's a great idea.
Hey, Damien, just out of curiosity, how many questions are there?
6 left with 1 hand raised.
Okay, let's do the last 6.
Let's do these 6.
Is that okay?
Machine gun round, and then we have one more trivia question.
All right, Debbie Star Jackson said, actually, I think she can get us a party bus to Sundance. Remember, you need to buy your tickets in October. And sure, and this is all in caps, sure, Jeff and Paul, everyone can stay at my house.
Yes, thank you, Debbie. Woo!
Well, that solves that problem.
Angela Coleman says, in Colorado, publicity coordinator for Harvest Moon movie, Freddy Krueger's new film. I own all the free networks from New Mexico to Colorado, also on Raven at Rumeurs and Poe Rendition. So I think that's the person we should talk to about that. Angela, send us an email to talk to you.
So anyone that can't fit at Debbie's house
can stay with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger.
James says, my team participates in the 48-hour film project here in St. Louis. Is it worth submitting any of these for consideration as digital projects, and whom do we submit them to?
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, our focus with projects are projects that we can monetize. And I'm assuming, I don't know the specifics of the 48-hour film competition, but I mean, it's there may be areas where we can help, post it and get help potentially get it seen. But that's a great question. I mean, you just have to, if you send an email to team@legionm.com, all those emails go to Damien. Damien then routes them. That would be probably a Terry Lubroff question.
Yep.
Yeah. Ponch, this is just going to throw this one out there. He says he knows a fan film group that was doing Star Trek, but now they're doing something absolutely new in the sci-fi genre. Tell them to submit through team@legionm.com. And Ramona Snyder, she says, I think Terry will need a West Coast assistant by profession. I'm a volunteer coordinator, and I'm a retired flight attendant with free travel benefits. Sign me up to help her.
Ooh, whoa. All right.
Nice.
Okay.
You just got a lot of new friends, Ramona.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I'm going to go to the next slide for the next question. I'll let you guys take over.
Okay. All right. So this one, Damien, is for, what are we giving away in this case? This is a pretty sexy gift, isn't it?
Yeah,
Damien?
I don't know why it's not loading here for some reason. I don't see it loading on my screen. Do you get? If anybody
That's okay.
has
I can just say it. But what are we? We're giving away a poster.
Yes, a signed Stan Lee event poster.
Oh.
All right. So
how do we do that though with the people here? Oh, okay. No. I got this one.
All right. Wait.
You ready?
The question's up. Yeah. All right. Yeah. What's it gonna be?
I was gonna
pick a number.
I can't say it because
they're all listening. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
You think so?
Should we do it on Twitter?
Okay. The first person to tweet, I am Legion M, Hashtag I am Legion M. And you got to tag us too. So
Yep.
at Legion M Official, the first person to do that. So Eric, I don't know if you can log into our Twitter account. If not, we'll be able to see it tomorrow. The first
Yep.
person to tweet.
That's the fairest way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Legion M Official. I am Legion M. They
And
are
add
gonna
in
get-
Stanley's birthday. Actually, that's not necessary. Yeah. We already answered that question. so
That's right.
That can't be. Jeff said he is 94. But
I
he'll
was
be
trying to mess everybody up. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So
Next slide.
I think that's it, right? All right.
I think is
Yeah.
that it, Damien?
That's it. Yeah. Did you guys want to watch movies now? Actually,
We're gonna show the drive video here, and maybe on our way out, Damien, do you want to play the icons sizzle with the afterword, or do you want to?
I will do that now. No, I'm happy to. I'll put it up right now for you.
Okay.
All right, guys. If you have any problems watching,
All right,
just
but
hit
then
refresh.
otherwise, yeah, thank you to everyone for joining, and let's keep building. This is going to be awesome.
That's right. And like I said, if you have anything that didn't get answered, or if there's something you want to know, let us know. Send an email to team@legionm.com. Post in the Facebook group. Just be patient with us, but we want to make sure that everybody hears everything. Also, we're doing a SEC disclosure tomorrow. So if there's anybody that really wants to dig into the financials and all of that really detailed sort of stuff, there will be an update tomorrow that includes all of our financials through the end of June. So the first half of 2017.
But it doesn't include all the good stuff. So.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately, a
little
lot
bit-
of the good
yeah.
stuff happened after. Yeah. So like those slides where we were showing that revenue, a lot of that happened. Like the
June.
bulk of it happened since then. So
What time are you doing that tomorrow?
Oh, that's
it's
just-
not like a
that's
live
just-
thing.
that's
We
not like a live
submit it to
stream.
the SEC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right.
All right.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
everyone.
And onward and
Let's do
upward.
this. All right, so we can watch this.
I have a dream. My four little children one day live in a nation.
Diamonds are a girl's best friend.
Have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become.